Wow. We are in for an amazing podcast show today. This is big news, news flash. There's new evidence out there that wives are using a brand new technique to kill their husbands, and they get away with it scot-free. There's no ramifications. It's absolutely crazy. Never seen anything like it. So definitely we're going to expose that bad boy today, for sure. Okay, before we go into that though, Nora, what would you like to accomplish today?
That's very interesting. I don't know, along with that, I don't know where that's going, but the first thing that popped into my mind was, and I've been thinking a lot about this lately. I don't know like exactly what the Bible says about it, but I've heard stuff about it. I haven't taken like a deep dive into it. On like wives, um, like husbands' prayers being hindered.
Yeah, yep.
And I wonder if it's like how much power does a wife have over like praying for her husband. So it's like when when they're in flow and everything's going great, she, is praying for him, maybe like positive things. But you know how we've talked before on this podcast, I think it was about the song I Pray for You.
Right. Yep.
And
Familiar,
so
very familiar with that song. Yep.
So I wonder if it's also like because so many times in the Bible, like when women pray, like God hears them, but it feels like sometimes men prayed in the Bible and God didn't answer their prayers the way they wanted, or like He did the women. So it's kind of like He has this
You think,
soft heart towards women. So I don't know.
you
I
think,
wanted to.
like, do you think it's because that women really aren't like they're not really human? They're like demigods, like little mini gods. Do you think that they're do you think that they're like God, just like they're really like God, and so that's why God loves them more and answers their prayers more? Like they're really gods, they're not really women. I mean, that would make a lot of sense.
Well, I don't know. That's why I'm saying I haven't. I need to take a dive into that and actually like study that a bit more because it's something that I've thought about lately quite a bit on some things that have happened in my life to some
Yeah,
of the men in my life.
I'm pretty sure when you do a deep dive and research that bad girl, or boy, whatever you want to call it, I'm pretty sure you're going to come up with what you think is true. And then you'll have research on it. Ginger and Rosanna, any thoughts you have?
Um, no, I just kind of wonder how much is it one way versus the other. So wives killing their husbands or husbands killing their wives. I don't know.
Right? Right? Um, so yeah. I'm trying to think because I've done some work on PERS and not a lot, but some. And so Patrick's, concept is really, really interesting, where he wonders if the kids' success is like 95, I don't know, 90 to 99%. The kids' success is with their moms. I mean, some of you were on the podcast we did with him when we did that. So I don't know. Thoughts?
Well, it kind of depends on the type of mom there is. I mean, not necessarily is the moms the ones that make them succeed. It may be the personality of the kids that you're working with too.
Yeah, Patrick's theory, if I'm not misrepresenting him, and you can text him and say, hey, text him now, one or two, or all of you could text him and say, hey, Mark's talking about what you're sharing with him about moms being responsible for children's success. So yeah, he doesn't connect it to personality. He's just like moms 96% of the reason that children are successful is because of moms.
How much of that do you think is tied back into, like, because I feel like women have a lot of influence in the success of their husbands. So how much of that do you think that is tied back into how a wife treats her husband is what the son's gonna see and think is normal? So then he's gonna end up marrying someone like the mom and
Well,
being put in.
they say that husbands marry wives. The wife that a husband marries will be the parent they didn't get along with. Wives marry a husband that they didn't get along with the parent. Like, so you marry, it's like a second chance. Like I wasn't successful with my dad. I wasn't successful with my mom. So I'm going to marry somebody like my dad. I'm going to marry somebody like my mom. And for Roseanne and I, that's totally true. My wife, she is like my dad's personalities. I hadn't obviously heard that. Like, I just heard that in the last year or so. I'm like, wow, that's pretty fascinating. And so, it's like the parent that's the opposite personality of us, we're probably going to have a hard time with. So is it the parent or is it the personality? But let's just say Patrick said, because he's not here, let's just say he says 90% of the success of a child comes from the mother. What do you think about that?
There's probably a large amount of truth to that, because if you think about it, well, I guess in certain households it might be different, but like for me, I spent way more time with my mom than I did my dad.
Well, I think every child does that.
Right.
Not in every home, 100% for you. Can I use a little language on this or not, Nora?
I don't care.
Okay. Because it's Nora's, podcast, Nora and I podcast. So sorry if I'm offending any. For you dumbasses out there, when I say something, I'm saying these are general. I'm not saying 100% of the women, 100% of men. I just hate having to tell that. It's just stupid. It's like, really? And so you can tell somebody who's stupid by, he says, well, Mark said, but he didn't say that. You got to listen to the words I'm saying and don't hear things I'm not saying and don't not hear the things I am saying. So I'm not saying all women are all men. But so
See, that's hard because it's like I feel like the women, yeah, they do play a huge role in the success of the kids, but then ultimately it's the man's responsible for his wife and his children. Like he's going to give an account for his wife and his kids, not?
So let's go ahead and say let's test out Patrick's hypothesis. So 90% of the success, 90% of the success of a child comes from the mom. I could see that in my mom. Like my mom, like I adore her. I mean, she taught drive and she taught discipline and she taught industrious. I mean, she she was an amazing mom, just an amazing mom. And so I can see that for me that, yeah, 90% of my success come from my mom. I can see that. Rosanna, what do you think about that?
I think that sounds good.
Yeah. Gingeran, what do you think about that?
That makes sense.
Yeah. So if we had 100 women on there, I think 100 women would say, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Now, women, I'm not saying they're not the sharpest tool in the tool shed. I'm just saying they don't see what's coming next.
What's that?
Like,
90% of the challenges of the children also come from the mom.
Interesting, right? But that's not how it is it? It's not how it is in church. It's not how it is anywhere. So 90% of the success comes from the mom, okay? And then 90% of the failure is the dad's responsibility. Wait a minute, how does that work? So it's always something I found fascinating when Christian families would say that had successful kids, they're like, it's all God's responsibility. I'm like, okay, if it's all God's responsibility and if they fail, is that all God's responsibility? No, it's all yours. Well, that's kind of stupid. So God gets all the credit if my kids are successful and I take all the responsibility if they're not. Like I don't know. That just seemed weird to me.
So what, or how does it come into play where like it's supposed to be a team, like partnership, as far as like a husband and wife? Isn't it supposed to be a partnership to where you work as a team and carry each other and help each other with the responsibilities of the household? And
So we went to breakfast this morning, me and a bunch of pickleball people, and we got talking about a whole bunch of things. The topics went all over the place. One of the talks was about high school students that were building airplanes and learning to fly. And it's like, that was interesting. And then there was like, afterwards I was talking to Patrick and I said, yeah, I don't go to stores. I don't go anywhere. My wife does all that. And I said, yeah. And, she also gets all the gas and all that stuff. And so it's like, well, that's a pretty great wife. So there's a lot of husbands that would be like, that's a pretty great wife. And it is. And so yeah, a lot of thoughts hit my brain. So, different couples, have a different division of responsibility. And so ours, Rosanna and mine, 41 years, has been very traditional, for the most part. This is the thing that's been weird about in northern Indiana that I didn't notice elsewhere. Maybe it was just there and I just didn't notice it. But it seems like a lot of men in northern Indiana think that because they, and Rosanna, like, you got to learn to challenge me sometimes and say, I have a difference of perspective on that, Mark. Or you gotta quickly say, I have a difference of perspective on that. And that way people will think, oh, Rosanna's got a mind of her own. Or you can say, I totally agree with what Mark said, but you can't wait. You can't wait and diddle doddle around. You got to go ahead and be quick because otherwise people won't trust you. Does that make sense, Rosanna? So you got to be fast. So you got to think, am I involved in this conversation? Because I get it, there's grandkids. And so I get it, when they're grandkids, they're not here. I mean, if they were here up here, I'd still be engaged in this,
No.
You don't get it.
Junior's
Anyway.
wife called.
Oh, there's another reason. Okay, gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
So anyways, that would be suggestions I would give for you. So in northern Indiana, it seems like a lot of men think because they make money, they come home at night and they don't have to help with the kids. They don't have to do this or that. And granted, I'd work 12, 15-hour days, but I'd come home and then I'd help out with the kids and try to give my wife a bit of a break. And so, I don't know, it just made sense to me. Like she's dealt with these kids. I'm glad she's dealing with the kids. Like whatever I'm working 12 to 15 hours, if I'm working 12, 15 hours, she's with the kids 12, 15 hours. And that's pretty exhausting. It just is. And so I think that we handled that really well. Where it got messy was the same thing that gets messy in work. It's just fascinating working with women. Like, it's just fascinating. It's like, I can't tell you how many women I think, did you have to be as harsh on that person? And it's just like, they don't realize how significant and how much men are affected by what they say.
Interesting. Hey, Mark, I have a random question for you.
Yes, man.
So back when you and Rosanna were dating,
Yep.
would you have said that you were more, let's use the word obsessed with Rosanna, or she was with you?
Before we were dating, she was with me. While we were dating, and I'm not sure what you mean by obsessed.
Like, would you say that you would have loved her more, or she would have loved you more?
I think her heart was more captured by me than my heart was captured by her.
Okay, so do you think you would have pursued her more during dating than she did you, or?
No, she definitely pursued me more.
Okay.
And I would say that continued to maintain all the way through. Once we started having children, I would say that changed probably significantly, and grandchildren too. Like pretty much when the children and grandchildren go ahead and are in the picture, Mark's not, by and large. But I'm not saying that's entirely true. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm okay with that because by and large, she makes sure they're, clothed, and she makes sure they're fed, and she makes sure they're this and that. I would say that Rosanna, either I was an amazing husband and father, or she, like, she didn't have to tell me much. Like, I wanted her to tell me more. Like, am I not spending enough time with the kids? Am I not engaged enough? Am I not this? Like, I wanted her to be harder on me. So either I was an amazing husband and father, or she was very easy on me. All the kids and everybody would say, oh, she's very easy on me. Okay. Maybe that's true, or maybe I was just a very proactive husband. I don't like to get behind on things. I don't like women or men, but especially women. I like to know women so well that I know what they need before they need it, and I'm on top of it, because I just think that's what good men do. And so, other questions, Nora?
Not that I can think of right now.
And so I think that I work a lot harder on the marriage than she does. Would you agree with that, Rosanna, or disagree?
I agree in some areas, yes.
So people are like, oh, so she's honest. She's got her own mind. She's not, and so, so what would be, if somebody really wanted to know the truth, what would they do?
Ask her which areas.
Yeah. So it's fascinating. Like, there's somebody at pickleball. There's a woman at pickleball. I mean, she knows me better than she knows, Rosanna, but we don't know each other real well. I mean, we did go deep once in a conversation, but so she saw Rosanna. It's just fascinating. She saw Rosanna and she said, I just want to tell you how much I admire you that you've stuck with Mark for all these years. And I'm like, and that's just common. Like, it's just funny on how everybody seduces women. And it's like, men say I married up and all this other stuff. And it's like, okay, whatever. And I said something to her. I said, why would you even say that? I mean, I don't care, but it's, and everybody's laughing around me. And it's like, why would you say that? She says, because you're a curmudgeon, I think is what she said.
What is that?
It's curmudgeon.
What is that, Rosanna?
It's where you don't have a lot of to say, and when you do have something to say, it might not come out nice to other people. That's what I think it is anyway, because I've seen the word curmudgeon in Facebook a lot. People say, "Don't be such a curmudgeon." It's usually a negative word.
And so it's just fascinating to me because people they have an impression of Rosanna. I don't think that's accurate. They have an impression of me. I don't think that's accurate either. Rosanna cares about people's impression of her, so she's very focused on making sure that impression, it's a brand and it's highly guarded. And it's highly guarded, and it's flawless. And people have an impression of me, and I don't give a rip what people think. It doesn't matter to me. And so they think poorly of me because I don't go ahead and protect and guard my my brand, what people think of me. She does, which is an interesting insight. So is that common? Is the thing that you like, the people you think are the nicest people, they're not. They're just mean, nasty buggers. And the ones that you think are really mean, they're the nicest people in the world. I don't know. I've never thought of that before. Ginger Ann, anything else that you have?
Now, does that mean I'm really nasty?
Why would you say that?
Most people say I'm pretty nice.
Right? Right?
Well, my husband seems to think so, but
Your husband thinks you're pretty nasty?
yes.
Interesting.
I can be, yes.
You can be. Right. Right.
I don't know, I would agree.
I
Well,
think it's just sassy because you need to be. You got a lot of people sassing around you.
what is it, is it nice and kind? Is that what it is? So people who are nice, everybody thinks they're nice people. They're not. They're not. They're just not. And so are you nice to everybody else, but you're kind to your husband, and he doesn't like it? I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting thought. Like, that's very fascinating. Rosanna, anything else you got?
Did we get to the point where you figured out why about women killing their husbands?
No, we might sell that for next week to get you guys all to come back again. Sell the next segment. So this is fascinating. There's a young guy. He's married. Been married for, I don't know, a few years, and he went into the doctor, and the doctor, there was a male and a female. I don't know if they were both doctors, one doctor, nurse. I don't know, but there was a male and a female medical people there, and they did some tests on him, and his sinuses or something was, his sinuses were. This is true story. Like, you cannot make this up. And what's fascinating is how women, it's like they don't own. They want to take all the positives of the women, all the positive stereotypes of women, but they don't want to take any of the negative ones. So they'll justify this. They'll look for little details like this. The cutest women in the world are when they can't see the big picture at all, and they're looking for one little tiny itty bitty needle in the haystack and say, you know what? Anyways, and so if you're that type of a woman, I just smile. I just want to pinch your cheeks and say, you're such a cutie. Anyways, So this guy goes in and they're like, yeah, your sinuses, there's issues with your sinuses and stuff like that. And essentially you're slowly dying. It's killing you, literally killing you. Questions?
Yeah, how does the wife come into this, or what's the story there?
So the doctors go ahead and say, the doctors say, do you have any pets that live in the house? And he's like, well, yeah, we have a dog and a cat. He's like, are you allergic to, either one? And it's like, yeah, I'm allergic to the cat. And the doctor goes ahead and says, the doctor says, yeah, that's probably what's causing all of this. And so the husband, the man, says, so what you're telling me is my cat's killing me? And the doctor's like, yeah, pretty much. Yepper, cat's killing you. He's like, can you do a note? Can you write a note? Can you write a note that I can bring home to my wife? And that male doctor starts laughing. He's like, oh, I get it. My wife, she's got like 10 cats in the basement, smells like urine. It's like, yeah, it's like, he's like, isn't that bad for you? And the doctor's like, oh, yeah. And so the female medical person there, doctor or nurse, somebody, she's like, well, how long have you had the cat? You're not going to like just get rid of the cat. So
that blows my mind.
So that's just women. It's just women. It just is. It's just women. It's just absolute women. That's what it is. So this is, for, young men that are listening to this, this is how your life's going to be. I'm just telling you. This is just how. Are you saying with every wife? I'm saying every woman. Okay, fine. She doesn't like cats. She doesn't have cats in her house. We're not talking cats here. We're talking the principle.
Okay, can I share a story?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so this is probably a decade ago. I met this guy, became good friends, started hanging out, and I knew he was allergic to peanut butter.
Okay.
But I thought it was like him consuming peanut butter.
Oh, yeah, peanut
that he was allergic to.
Right, no, just around.
Turns out that no, even the smell of peanut butter, like even if he would walk into a room and there'd be peanut butter bars or whatever, he was allergic to that. I didn't know that.
Uh-huh.
So unbeknownst to me, I ate a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't realize it. He walked away from me, obviously because of that, and he didn't. I don't know. I guess he didn't have the heart to tell me that he's actually like, it's the smell of it. I didn't know. I felt like an absolute ass afterwards. And I'm like, that's like, I'm done. Like, there's no way I would ever do that again. I'm like, I am so sorry. I did not realize that you were. So that blows my mind that someone would, and that was just a friend. Like, blows my mind that someone wouldn't just like, well, the cat has to go. Like, we'll find a good home for it or whatever if they're attached to it. Like, that blows my mind.
Well, and the doctor, he's laughing. The man's laughing. And the nurse or the medical, whoever, the woman in there, she's not concerned about the guy who's slowly dying. She's concerned about the cat. And that's just, when I heard this story, I started laughing too. So, but the guy had the right idea. The husband had the right idea.
What was his idea?
He wants to get more cats.
So you can die faster?
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Suicide by cat. When I shared that, he laughed. He's like, that one's a good one. Like, have you ever heard suicide by cat? I haven't. And so everybody laughs about it. But it's like it's interesting. Before we had any grandkids, I heard or read a story about how they've researched grandmothers, and grandmothers are more interested in their grandkids than their husband. And so it's so much economic engine. It's insane. It's just absolutely insane. And talking with some guys this week about it, and they're talking about Charlie Brown and Lucy pulling the football out in the young men's call this morning podcast this morning. We talked about that, and it's just crazy. And so it wouldn't be so bad as a man if the women would just acknowledge it. Like, you're just a piece of meat. Like, I'm just going to use you as long as I can, and then as soon as I don't need you anymore, I'm going to discard you. And so it's interesting because I'm doing a test with my granddaughters. So grandpa's concerned about concerned their whole life, but especially when they become teenage girls. Because all it takes is one poor choice on their part, and the rest of their lives will be changed because of it. Now, if they've been hearing, from their grandmother and a bunch of other women, nobody's perfect. Everybody's, nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. I mean, when you're surrounded by that your whole life, like, it's fine. Like, nobody's perfect. Like, what's a teenage girl going to think?
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, I can make a mistake. Well, you can make a mistake. But there's some, like in Ford versus Ferrari, some people don't get out of the car. And so it's just mind-blowing to me. It's just mind-blowing to me how detrimental moms and women are, and nobody's telling them the truth. And so what's fascinating is I was talking with Patrick about that, and he said, yeah, so it's over 90%, he thinks. And he said, so dads, but he said, well, dads can definitely mess things up big time. So that's why I'd like to have him on, so he could go ahead and explain himself in more details, because it's fascinating on the conclusions he's come up with by, living for, 65 years and observing human nature. And so what does this all have to do with friendship? I think that women will treat their friends like male friends. They will treat their male friends. They'll treat their husband like they do their male friends. I mean, the reason that I wanted to date my girls when they were little girls is to try to put inside of them, embed within them, this is how a man should treat you. To have an expectation, like, he should open the door, and he should treat you well, and he should be concerned more for you than he is him. He should put you in front of, himself. He should care and protect you. And he should honor you. So I did that to go ahead and do it. Now, with my granddaughters, what I'm trying to do is invest tremendously into their lives, to where when they do become preteens and teenage girls, that they will listen to their grandfather. So I'm investing 13 years of my life into them, doing all kinds of things, like taking them places and gifts and dates and hanging out and having fun and adventures and giggling and doing all kinds of stuff. And, if grandpa puts in a 15-hour day, 18 hours, and the grandkids are around, especially the granddaughters, You want to go on an adventure, Grandpa's going on an adventure. So I'm investing 13 to 19 years of my life to be in a position that they will listen to me one time when it's key. Like that guy, he's not gonna, Grandpa's concerned. So to me, I don't think that's that big of a deal, honestly. I don't think I'm a great grandfather. I think every grandfather, that's what a grandfather should do. They should take all of their years of wisdom. They should take all of their experiences and they should invest it. But those little girls, is there anybody that's going to go ahead? Is there any women in their life that's going to say, you have the most amazing grandfather in the world? Like, he is investing his life into you. He cares so much. He'd give his life and heartbeat for you. Like, is there any women that see how much that I'm investing in? And are they supporting me? Are they going to go ahead, or do they tear me down? Grandpa's a conundrum. Grandpa's this. Grandpa's this. Are they supporting me? Do they have any idea? And it's fascinating. I was talking to another gentleman. His wife is in therapy, and it's just fascinating. And I'd never heard this before. So he's talking about pornography and how, I guess, in the social circles, or in the therapy circles, I guess they're pretty hard on pornography. Like, pornography is not a good thing. It's a really bad thing. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying it's a bad thing. But he asked, his wife, who's a therapist, and said, "What about promiscuity?" And his wife's like, "That's different."
What's promiscuity?
Premarital sex or sexual things.
Gotcha.
And so, I mean, it's just like, I have way too much time on my hands, but there's things, like I talked to a guy today about grandpas, and it's like grandpas for the future or something. And he has a granddaughter. She's about my granddaughter's ages. And he brought her over for an event, and he just loves that little one. And it's fascinating. He's a great grandfather. He is an amazing grandfather. So, she got a bike and there were training wheels. And she's like, I bet you I know who's going to do that, Grandpa. Who's going to put the training wheels on? And he's like, "You're absolutely right, honey. You're absolutely right. And there's the wrench. You go do it. Grandpa will help you as you need to." But he's always trying. I said, "Well, what's some suggestions?" He said, "I'm always trying to teach her something she doesn't know. I'm always trying to go ahead. And like a new word, something she doesn't know. Like, every time I'm with her, I'm pouring into her." I'm like, that's a great grandfather. That's just an amazing grandfather. And so that's another project. Maybe we can have grandfathers on. I know a lot of grandfathers and great grandfathers too, some of those. And so I don't think people know how to be, like, I've never taken a class in friendship. I don't think people know how to go ahead and be good friends. I don't think they do. And I think people think they're being good friends when they're really not. They're really not.
So,
And
question back to the pornography and the other thing. Do you think that it's similar in what it is, but do you think it does something different to the brain?
Oh, yeah. Big time. I mean, big time. Does it do something different to the female's brain than the male's brain? My guess is yes. But I don't know. But my guess is yes. From a God ordering perspective, like, if what I believe is true, which it might not be, but what I believe is that God puts the responsibility, a heavier responsibility on the man than he does the woman. If that's the case, then it would make sense that promiscuity, premarital sex, will hurt the man more than it does the woman. And so, and so, you know, and so nowadays with all of the, with all of the TV shows, everything, the internet, all this stuff, it's highly sexualized. Girls are becoming highly sexualized at a younger age. I mean, it's crazy how much they are. So they are often more sexualized than boys are. And so, and so, but nobody's teaching the girls. And so I think it's a lot because I think women have a lot of guilt about premarital promiscuity. So because they have guilt, so much guilt about that, that they don't teach their daughters, they don't teach younger women. And if you ask me, do you think women rationalize things more than men? I would say for sure I do. And then if you said, do you think that's because you're a man? I'd say probably, maybe it could be. Like men could do. I do see that both men and women do it. I do think that men and women who don't rationalize things don't, like, they don't, here's the reason why I'm this and this and this and this. People who take more ownership of it and learn from it, I think are going to be more successful. So we went way over today, but hopefully this was good. Roseanne, anything else you got?
I'm good, thank you.
Nora, anything else you got?
I don't think so.
So what am I thinking now? Like I feel that I wonder, like it's been a year plus or whatever, I think that we've been doing this, and it's like is this all practice for something bigger? And so I don't know. Talking about friendship. So there were, I don't know, 8 of us after pickleball today that went out to eat. And like, I've never done anything like that. I mean, last year I did, but I've never done anything like this before but I mean, some of these people I'm hanging out with a couple hours, every day, 3 to 7 days a week. And so it's fascinating. I guess they're going to have a cornhole tournament. And Virgil said, hey, I think Mark said that he could have some flyers put together to Audrey where where it's going to be. And she says, oh, I'm not going to have Mark do it. He'll give it to total strangers. He'll invite everybody. And then the same person is just so fascinating to me. Like, so we went to Syracuse and she introduced me to 3 of her friends. And she said, I mean, that's the first time we've met. Like, she introduced, this is Mark, this is so and so. And she said, Mark doesn't really say anything. He doesn't talk, but don't take it personal. And it's something I've never even considered, that if you don't talk to a woman, she might take it personal. Like, it's never even crossed my mind. 62 years and all the experience I have with women, I've never realized that if you don't talk to a woman, she may take that, internalize that, and think that she's a bad person or something's wrong with her. It's never even crossed my mind. So I don't know what to do with all that. Anyways, most interesting. So, Always remember we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.